Look, if you've spent more than 5 minutes in the weird corners of the internet, you've heard the conspiracy. People claim Nikola Tesla invented free energy for the entire world, but greedy billionaires destroyed his tower to keep us paying electricity bills. It sounds like an amazing movie plot. But today we're going to look at the actual history and the actual physics of this monster, the Wardenclyffe Tower. Let's talk about what really happened. No fluff, just the facts. Back in 1901, Tesla started building this 187-foot wooden giant on Long Island, New York. On top, he placed a ridiculous 55-ton steel and copper dome that looked like a massive mushroom. Now, publicly, Tesla told his main investor, the legendary billionaire tycoon J.P. Morgan, that this was going to be a wireless telegraph station. The goal was to send radio messages across the Atlantic Ocean to Europe. And technically, it could do that. But secretly, Tesla had a much crazier, more radical plan. He didn't want to just send text messages across the ocean. He wanted to broadcast actual raw electricity straight through the ground so anyone, anywhere, could power their house for free. Most people look at this tower and focus on the sky, assuming it shot lightning bolts into the clouds. But the real mad scientist engineering was actually underground. Tesla dug a massive shaft 120 feet deep into the dirt, driving iron pipes even deeper. Why? Because he didn't want to shoot electricity through the air. Air has too much resistance, and it wastes way too much power. Instead, he wanted to use what he called an earth grip. The plan was to use giant Tesla coils in the base of the tower to literally pump electricity straight into the ground. He believed he could make the entire planet vibrate with an electrical charge. Think of it like a giant acoustic balloon. If you tap it at just the right rhythm, the vibration builds up and amplifies. He calculated that if you stuck a metal rod into your backyard anywhere on Earth, boom, you'd tap into that vibration and draw out usable power. He was basically trying to build a global Wi-Fi network, but for actual electricity. So why aren't we doing this today? Did the government shut him down? Not exactly. It boils down to a rival inventor and a total lack of cash. Right while Tesla was building this incredibly expensive monster, an Italian inventor named Guglielmo Marconi was working on a much cheaper, simpler radio system. In December 1901, Marconi successfully sent the very first wireless signal across the Atlantic. He beat Tesla to the punch using a fraction of the budget. When J.P. Morgan saw that Marconi had already solved the wireless communication problem for cheap, and then found out Tesla was secretly trying to build a free global power grid, Morgan pulled the plug on the funding. And frankly, from a business perspective, you can see why. Morgan reportedly realized a fatal flaw in Tesla's business model. If anyone can just stick a rod in the ground and pull out power, how do we put a meter on it to charge them? The stock market crashed, Tesla ran out of money, suffered a massive nervous breakdown, and by 1917, the abandoned tower was dynamited and sold for scrap metal to pay off his debts. Here's the frank reality. Tesla was an absolute genius. He actually predicted things like the Schumann resonance, the Earth's natural electromagnetic frequency, decades before scientists proved it existed. But modern physics tells us his global power grid probably wouldn't have worked efficiently. Pumping that much raw voltage through the Earth would lose massive amounts of energy as pure heat, and it likely would have fried any modern electronics we use today. So it wasn't a magic-free energy machine, but it was an incredible, ahead-of-its-time attempt at wireless tech. Every time you drop your phone on a wireless charging pad, you're using the exact physics Tesla was playing with on a massive scale over a century ago.